You're listening to an archived Cabral Concept podcast. After listening to this show, check out the most up-to-date podcasts available at stephencabral.com/podcasts or search directly on iTunes. And now, welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Thank you for joining me here on this Motivation and Mindset Monday. We're going to get started with a great show. And really, this show is inspired by a little bit more work I've been doing. So a little bit more kind of soul searching into my own life and looking at that. I have a bunch of different goals that I'm looking to achieve through 2017 and 2018. Really trying to take what I do, my practice, my message to that next level, which just means like, how can I amplify that? And one of the things I found was the more that I thought about it, instead of getting excited about it, I was getting a little like tense, a little bit anxious, almost a little overwhelmed. And I just kind of step back because I've trained my mind to just catch myself when I start to get into this type of mentality. And I stepped back and I said, why am I feeling this way? Like, why am I feeling this way? I know that this is what I want to do. I know that I want to get my book out. I know I want to get my message out to more people, and I want to reach millions of people. And so when I can reach millions of people, I know that what I'm teaching, that what I've been taught, that what I'm now sharing with others, they'll share with many more. And if every person just shares it with one more, and then that person shares it with one more people, we're looking at an amplification of 300, 400%. So what I'm saying is like, this is something that excites me. And you might have goals that excite you. But when it comes down to it, all of a sudden, when it's a time to start, or whether you're looking to take that first step, you might feel overwhelmed. You're like, well, the goal is so far away, or the goal is so big, or I'll have to change as a person in order to hit that goal. And sometimes it can look like too much. Or you look down the road and say, I'm so sick right now, I can't see myself ever being well. Or I'm so far away from my goal weight that when I look in the mirror, I can't even visualize myself ever getting back to the weight that I wanted to be, or for the first time ever, being at a weight that I feel comfortable with, that I feel healthy about. And again, this could apply to a career, to a goal of any type. Maybe it's relationship-based. I can't see myself getting out of this relationship, being happy maybe by myself for a little while, and then ever getting back into another relationship. I know a lot of people are going through that right now. So I'm saying whatever the goal is, that end goal, what I'm talking about today, because we've talked a lot about goal setting in the past, and I still believe that's very important because you have to visualize what you want that end goal to be. All right. You have to see yourself eventually in that position. But maybe focusing on that goal on a daily basis isn't the best idea. I want to just bring this back. I'm going to come back to that. So here's why. If you look in the mirror, if you're thinking about this, if you say, okay, I'm that person that's 30 pounds overweight or 40 pounds overweight, you're looking in the mirror and you're saying, wow, I am nowhere near that person that I visualize or this photo that I have of the ideal body for me. It's not too skinny. It's not, photoshopped on a magazine cover and like that. This is a real body. This is what I feel is achievable. It's healthy. I'm just so far away from that, you might say to yourself. And that makes you feel always like a failure every single day, right? It makes you feel like you're always losing, like you're not winning when it comes to reaching that goal. Because when you look on a daily basis, you can't see those small changes happening. You can't. It's just right in front of you. And then again, you're always looking to the future. You're looking at that goal. So what happens is there's this disconnect from where you are now to where you want to be. And that chasm seems so great that there's no way you could possibly cross it, that there's no way you could possibly reach that goal. It just seems too far off. It's too big. It's too overwhelming. And then because of that, you get paralyzed with fear. And when you get paralyzed with fear, you say one of two things. Okay, well, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to start next week. All right, so you just put it off. So you don't fully give up. Or the other part is like, you know what? It's just too big. I'm not that type of person. Our family isn't those type of people. My friends, we just don't do that. That's not what we're all about. You kind of make these excuses where I'm not that, right? You just set yourself up to say, well, that's just not who I am. Meaning like, who are you? Like, who's deciding that for you? If you're not deciding it, who is? And we'll get back to that as well. We'll talk about that at a future date. But what I want to say is there's a cure for this. So when I was looking at the future and I'm saying, oh, well, I have to do this, this, and this, and this. Like, these are all things that excite me. These are things I want to do. No one's making me do them. This is what I want to do. But when I look at it, I'm saying, wow, I need to then have a bigger team. I need to do all these different things. And I have to step back and I have to say, yes, that's true. But really, what do I need to do this month, this week, and today? That's really it. From that point, I really just say is, what do I need to do on a daily basis? That's what I'm looking at. And that's what I want you to think about right now. We're going to talk about that right now. So here's the thing. If your goal is weight loss, what do you really need to think about? You don't need to think about losing 30 or 40 pounds because that's inconsequential. It really is. That happens as a result of doing what? Focusing on rebalancing your body. What do you mainly need to do? Mainly focus on your nutrition. Secondarily, we need to focus on exercise, moving the body. Okay. Now, those are broad scope things. All right. So I'm not saying eat less and move more because I think that for the most part, that doesn't work for most people. We need to focus on not eat less, but eat the right types of foods. Eat the anti-inflammatory foods. Eat their lower glycemic foods. Eat the foods that have more fiber that can keep you satiated. Eat the foods that are going to rebalance your hormones like estrogen and progesterone. Also, eat the foods that are going to boost your neurotransmitters. So that's why when you're on these low carb diets for a long time, they're going to deplete you of a lot of the good gut bacteria. They're also going to deplete you of a lot of the serotonin that your body needs to feel happy, to feel good. That's important as well, especially for the long term. Plus, you need to keep that thyroid function optimally. All right, so we have the nutrition part of it. And we have the exercise. So what might it look like? Well, for the nutrition part of it, meaning like if you can only do one thing at a time, focus on nutrition first. Okay, exercise will come and it's very important for long-term results. But I have people do, whether it's my detox or fat loss or some plan, and they do that, they don't exercise. And they still lose 5 to 10 pounds in a week. Like it's not, because it's nutrition. Nutrition is the main thing. People say, well, it's 80% nutrition and 20% exercise. And I say, well, no, that's actually not true because you can't be 20% off with your nutrition. So it's 100% nutrition and then it might be 20% exercise, but it's definitely all nutrition and then add more to it. So it's nutrition, it's supplements, it's sleep, it's all these different things. And we'll talk about that as well. But the main thing is really, what do we put in our body? Is it inflammatory or not? Is it high glycemic or not? Because in the beginning, that matters. It may not matter as much later down the road when you have your blood sugar stabilized. But in the beginning, it certainly matters. It does matter, at least for 3 to 4 months. Well, we get new red blood cells turning over. We get new cell receptors. You don't get to change those for about 90 days. That's why that's not well known in the health field either. Like, again, this is biology. This is clinically studied. But when you're studying at school, they don't teach it that way. They don't say like, okay, well, yeah, that makes sense that you're not going to change overnight. You're going to change every 3 to 4 months. And that's not from a weight loss perspective. That's from a biochemical perspective. That's from a cell receptor-based perspective. So if you want to change your hormones, yeah, change them this month, but they're going to get even better 3 months from now. All right. So here's what I want you to do. Set a daily goal. And your daily goal could be something as, I'm going to do 10 push-ups. I'm going to do 10 rows. I'm going to do 10 squats. I'm going to do 10 deadlifts. And I might do 10 sets of jumping jacks. And that's my workout for the day. That would take you all of maybe 15 to 20 minutes. Literally, you could just do that. And that's a first step for your exercise. But you're going to do that every day. That's it. You're not going to train to fail. You're not doing anything. You're going to do something every day. You're going to move your body. You're going to boost your metabolism. You're going to not wait for nighttime to come when you might be tired. You're going to do this maybe right before you leave for work. You're going to do this maybe before you hop in the shower. Any one of those things. And then you're going to focus on just eating 3 meals per day. Maybe you do an afternoon snack or so. Don't try to come up with 5 meals. Now you have to come up with 5 different recipes. It's a lot to think about. Try to get 3 meals right. Eat a good breakfast. Eat enough to keep you satiated. Eat a good lunch. Lots of vegetables. Same with dinner. Focus on the one thing. So now what you're doing is you're focusing on what? You're focusing on the things that are going to get you the 30 to 40 pound weight loss. right? You're focused on the activities that give you the end result. So now you really can't get that overwhelmed about what am I going to have for breakfast? Because you could just do a smoothie. You could just do whatever you'd like, for breakfast, like whatever you choose is a good meal, your choice. Same for lunch. Like, okay, I'm going to have a salad. I'm going to put some chickpeas on it, some sliced cucumber, some shredded carrots. I'm going to make this, delicious thing. I'm going to put olive oil on it. I'm going to squeeze some lemon, pinch of sea salt. You can make it taste very, very good. And again, you can add other things as well. I'm just giving you an example. But that's not that overwhelming. It's just lunch. So you're going to focus on one meal at a time, and you're going to do maybe a 10-minute workout if you've never worked out before. It's just going to get your body moving. Again, it could be 5 sets of mountain climbers. Great. You're not exercising right now. You say, okay, 5 sets of mountain climbers isn't that much. It's true. 5 sets of mountain climbers isn't that much, but it's a lot more than you're doing right now if you're doing nothing. And that's perfectly acceptable. That gets you much further to your goal than doing absolutely nothing. And the reason is 5 sets of mountain climbers to start your day is going to rev up your metabolism. There's no doubt about it. You're going to better utilize glucose if you do 5 sets of mountain climbers. There's no doubt about that. And there's clinical research that just shows do 5 sets of mountain climbers and then test your blood sugar after eating a half hour later. And then you test an hour later and you can see clinical data saying, oh, if you exercise, you're going to absorb glucose better. There's many type 2 diabetic studies on this. Same for health. Okay, let's do a health goal. So right now you have a debilitating autoimmune disease, or you have GI issues, or you have a mystery illness, kind of like I did, where no doctor could figure it out. So what do? Like, you're so overwhelmed. Like, well, no one has any idea how to treat me. Nobody has any idea how to get me better. What am I supposed to do? Well, you don't figure out what that end goal is in the future of getting well because you have no idea how to get there, right? But what do you know that creates a healthy body? There are things that we know that makes a person healthy, right? So why don't we start doing those? That's exactly what I did. I said, my sleep is a mess right now. It's a mess. So this was back many years ago, and my sleep was the last thing to really get me to recover because it was so bad. It would take me minimum 2 hours to fall asleep at night, typically 3 to 4. Some nights I just wouldn't go to bed. I would just literally lie there, almost in agony, being like, I can't believe I can't sleep. I can't, and just couldn't turn the brain off, right? So here's the thing. I probably couldn't get fully well until I changed my sleep. So I changed that. Okay. And then, so again, if you're not well, what are you going to do? Well, you're going to make sure you're getting good sleep. You're going to practice releasing stress. You're going to practice some deep breathing. You're going to take your supplements. You're going to eat well. You're going to try to detoxify. All right. You're going to remove yourself from as many toxic people and situations as possible. You're going to work on just good community type relationships, enjoying yourself, being a part of something, taking up a worthy goal, finding a hobby that you enjoy, something that gives you some zest for life. You're going to start to exercise appropriately, not too much, enough for your body. You do those things that healthy people do, and eventually you start to get healthier. All right? At least enough that gives you a spark. We can say, okay, now I'm ready again. I feel motivated again. I've made some progress to now see someone else, a coach, whoever it might be, to help me get to that next level. So what I'm saying is this, that we all have an end goal in mind, but sometimes that end goal seems so far away or so big and unachievable or so overwhelming that we really put it off. We put it off saying, well, maybe next week. And then next week comes and it's maybe next month, and then it's maybe next year. Or, we get to the latter part of 2017 and we say, okay, well, I'm going to save this for 2018. 2018 is going to be my year. That's what I don't want for you. I don't want you to say that's going to be your year. I want today to be your day. Because literally, no matter whether that goal is going to be in 2018 or not, I want you to start taking the steps today that makes you the person that will achieve that goal next week, next month, or next year. But it starts today. And I guarantee you, if you just focus on the task, if you just focus on the tasks that eventually get you to that end goal, you're going to be a lot happier as well. Why? Because right now, when you look at that person in the mirror, you're going to say, this is the person that's willing to do the 5 sets of mountain climbers, the 10 push-ups, rows, squats, deadlifts, and some type of interval. The person who focuses on their 1, 2, 3 meals, maybe a small snack for mid-afternoon. I can do that. And you focus on that. And when you do that and you win that day and you look at yourself in the mirror that night, you're a winner. You completed your goals for the day. You did win. In the long term, you'll be the big winner. You'll achieve that goal. But in the short term, now instead of a failure, looking at yourself as a failure because you see this huge disconnect, again, this huge chasm between where you are now and where you're going to be, you don't see that. You see it as a person who's a goal achiever because you achieved today's goal. So what I'd like you to do right now is to say, how can I take better control of my life by creating some goals that will empower me, that will then lead to that greater satisfaction, maybe not even greater satisfaction, but that end goal. Because the satisfaction comes from really achieving those goals and feeling accomplished. So what I want you to do is don't create a huge stretch goal for the day. Okay? Create a huge stretch goal for the end goal, the future. Create a goal today. What can you achieve today? Because you can always make it bigger next week. What can you do today? Make it easy. Get the win for today. Make sure that you can do that for a week consistently. Then the next week, you can amplify that. You can amp it up just a little bit more. All right? Just a little bit more. But today, set a goal that you can achieve now. I'm telling you, if you do that, not only are you going to reach that end goal, you're going to be a lot happier. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into another Cabral Concept. I appreciate each and every one of your listens, and please do feel free to share this show with anyone it could help. I want to sincerely thank you for your support of this podcast. I couldn't do it without you, and I mean that. I truly do. I also want to make sure you knew that we now have multiple ways for you to find your answers to the most difficult health, wellness, weight loss, and anti-aging questions. You can find podcast-specific topics like thyroid, adrenal, hormones, sleep, digestion, Ayurveda, and many more at stevencabral.com/podcasts that will then link you to your favorite Apple, Spotify, and other podcast players. Plus, all new podcasts and weekly exclusive video content is being added to our YouTube channel at youtube.com/Stephen Cabral. And that's Stephen with a PH. Head on over and subscribe so that you don't miss any of the exclusive content. Lastly, if you've ever found any of my podcasts or books to be helpful, I would really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or your favorite media player for the podcast. Rating and subscribing to the YouTube and podcast allow me to reach more and more people and help spread my mission of healing throughout the world. Thank you again for being a part of this movement.